This is number 4 in the diatribe about prostate cancer and prevention. Yesterday was a day when I was scheduled to have a small operation to bypass my genital area in order to ensure that my urine sac could be properly emptied every time to relieve pressure on the bit of my remaining kidney. You wouldn't think all this would be connected with cancer, but it is. Because if the kidney can't do its job properly, getting rid of all the detritus, then it makes the possibility of having a successful cure for cancer very difficult. I was scheduled to have some trials by marvelous Ursula McGovern, and I couldn't join these trials because my misbehaving kidney. I have 2. You all have 2. We all have 2. But one had stopped functioning, and the remaining one is functioning only about 27%. So the received wisdom was, we cannot have any trials while your kidney is in this state. Well, I thought, what can I do about that? Not very much. So that is why I started chemotherapy 3 weeks ago. And I should just say that in spite of all the tales of fire and brimstone coming down upon one's head, and you notice I've lost my hair, which is the only symptom I've had of having chemo, I have found chemo to be a very pleasant experience. In fact, it was made enjoyable by the team on the 4th floor at UCLH. When I went for my treatment, everybody treated me with such tenderness and kindness. It was very remarkable. The staff nurse and the assistant were really charming, and then I was visited by somebody called Daryl, who was a very senior member of Barclays Bank before he decided enough was enough. And when I teased him about how he filled his time, he then told me about the various other things that he was doing and made me feel quite humble in his place. So I'm hoping to catch up with him next Friday when I start the second round of chemo. And this brings me to something else. There is a general impression that when you are put in the firing line for chemo, that this is the last trump sounding. By the time you get to chemo, your end is in sight. I don't believe that this is so, although I'm not stupid enough to think that I am not dying quite soon. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? No idea. But what I have found are remarkable people. I was having a blood test on the day prior to chemo. I was talking to a woman in late 30s, and why are you here? Why are you here? Sort of conversation that one should have or does have. And she has had 7 rounds of chemo. She looked brilliant, absolutely marvelous. And then I was being annoying, and I rang up the Radio 4 program, Any Answers, and I was talking to one of the production team, an Irish woman, and she also had had 8 rounds. And my God, I'm thinking all this trepidation about 1 round. I'm now due for my second round coming up next Friday, is totally and utterly unnecessary. The fear is unnecessary. Oncologists are doing their best, especially in UCLH, to save their patients, to prolong their quality of lives. And I must obviously mention today that Ursula McGovern has allocated a student doctor in her just starting her first year called Angie to monitor my consultations and my treatment, etc., so that she can get to understand how patients cooperate, don't cooperate, react, what their feelings are, etc. And she's charming and very on the ball, and I look forward to talking with her regularly about the onward progress of life, as it were. So that, I think, covers most of the up-to-date matters. As you can understand, or if the impression you should be given is that I am on form this morning. Things are looking good. I am feeling much stronger than I have done for 3 or 4 years. I realize that Ursula McGovern says that this feeling of strength arises from the meds I'm having. Well, thank God for the meds, I say, because they are making a great difference. But all this brings me back and back again to early diagnosis, being aware of yourself. On the way up to the hospital yesterday, there was a man sitting in the opposite corner on the angle on the bus, Oxford Tube. And eventually I plucked up courage to ask him whether he considered having his prostate tested. It's something I usually don't do on the bus, but I thought I would. And he was charming and reticent, and he said words to the effect, "It's something which has been on my mind, and it's a very appropriate question." And I thought, thank you for taking it so nicely, because I do try and proselytize, I try and spread the message that 30,000 men die. Apparently early awareness and early treatment could maybe cut that to 10,000 instead of 30,000 every year. That's a lot of lives which are no longer ruined. Think about that when you say, I can't be bothered, not important to me. Oh, you know, I've had family who've got it out. No, it's not interesting. It's vital. You save yourself miserable quality of life. You save money for the health service. You improve the relations between your families, your loved ones, especially your loved ones. And life is better if you're alive and not thinking about prostate cancer. So, have a good day.